Daf Yomi, Tractate Bava Batra, page 24a. Top of the page, with the words Bishvil Shel Kramim. We are dealing with a path that passes between vineyards, and these two dovecotes are situated there. As if it is so that you claim the chick came from anywhere else in the world, since it only hops, it could not have come there. The reason is that any bird that hops and turns and sees its nest will continue to hop. But if it does not see its nest because it has gone too far, it will not hop farther. Consequently, this found chick that hops must have come from one of those two dovecotes. Abaye said, we learned in the Mishnah, Nida 17b, as well, that one follows the majority rather than proximity. With regard to blood that is found in the corridor, in other words, the cervical canal, and it is uncertain whether or not it is menstrual blood, it is ritually impure as menstrual blood, as there is a presumption that it came from the uterus, which is the source of menstrual blood. And this is the halacha, even though there is an upper chamber which empties into the canal, which is closer. Rava said to Abaye, in response to this claim, you state a proof from a case where the factors of majority and frequency are both present. When there is majority and frequency, there is no one who says that one ignores the majority and follows the proximity. Here, not only is the blood from the uterus greater in quantity, it also passes through the canal more frequently, as blood generally does not come from the upper chamber. Rava cites a proof for this statement. As Rabbi Yehoshua teaches, blood that is found in the corridor is considered definite menstrual blood, and therefore, if she engages in sexual intercourse, both she and her partner would be liable as a result of it to receive karet for entering the temple intentionally when ritually impure, or to bring an offering for entering unwittingly. And one burns truma due to it if the woman touches such produce. Evidently, the status of this blood is not considered uncertain. And Rava says, learn from that which Rabbi Yehoshua said, three conclusions. Learn from his statement that when the relevant factors are majority and proximity, follow the majority. And learn from his statement that the halacha that one follows the majority applies by Torah law, as truma is burned in this case on account of the blood, and she is liable to receive karet if she enters the temple in this state, and learn from his statement that there is a source for that which Rabbi Zera said. The statement of Rabbi Zera was issued in reference to a case discussed in Tractate Ketubot 15a. If there are 10 stores in a city, 9 of which sell kosher meat, and one of them which sells non-kosher meat, and one found meat outside the stores and he does not know from which store it came, one follows the majority. The Gemara there suggests that perhaps one follows the majority only in a case where the gates of the city are unlocked, when the meat could have come to the city from the majority of kosher meat outside, in a circumstance where the majority of the meat sold in the surrounding area was kosher. In this case, there are two majorities: the majority of kosher meat stores inside the city and the majority from outside. The Gemara explains that Rabbi Zera says that even if the city gates are locked, one follows the majority, and the meat is kosher, and there's no need for a double majority. The Gemara elaborates the two cases are analogous. Cases are analogous, as the woman here is considered like the locked gates of the city. In other words, there is only a single majority, and even so, we follow the majority. The Gemara asks, but Rava is the one who says, with regard to the case of the blood, that when there is majority and frequency, there is no one who says that one ignores the majority and follows the proximity. In other words, Rava rejected this case as proof of the principle that one follows the majority even when it is not frequent. Here, by contrast, Rava claims that one can learn from the ruling of Rabbi Chia that one follows the majority by Torah law. The Gemara answers, Rava retracted that claim in favor of the opinion that one follows the majority in all cases. It was stated in the case of a barrel of wine that was found floating in a river, and the status of the wine was unknown. Rav says if it was found opposite a town of which the majority of the residents are Jews, the wine is permitted, as it can be assumed that the wine belongs to a Jew. If it was found opposite a town which the majority are Gentiles, it is forbidden, as it presumably belongs to a Gentile. And Shmuel says it is forbidden even if it was found opposite a town of which the majority are Jews. Why? Regardless of where it was found, one can say it came from that place called the Kira, where the majority of people are Gentiles. In other words, there is a distinct possibility that a floating barrel came from far away. There is a distinct possibility that a floating barrel came from far away. The Gemara suggests, shall we say, Rav and Shmuel disagree with regard to the statement of Rabbi Hanina? And that one sage, Shmuel, is of the opinion that the ruling is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Hanina, and he rules based on the majority which In this case, it includes even distant locales. And one sage, Rav, is of the opinion that the ruling is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Hanina, which is why he rules based on proximity. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No, everyone agrees with the opinion of Rabbi Hanina, and here they disagree about this. As one sage, Rav, holds that if it is so that the barrel came from the place called Dekira, this cannot be, as the current and bays of the river, where the river flow is weak, would have sunk it. Therefore, it is logical the barrel came from a nearby town. And one sage, Shmuel, holds that perhaps the force of the river caught the barrel and brought it, as it is evident that the flow of river can bring items from far away. The Gemara relates that Ravina deems permitted a certain barrel of wine that was found hidden in a vineyard where there were Orla grapes, and he was not concerned that the wine might be from the grapes of that vineyard. The Gemara asks, shall we say that this is because he holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Hanina, that one follows the majority of vineyards, which are not orla rather than proximity? The Gemara answers it is different there, as if thieves had stolen a barrel from that very vineyard, they would not have hidden it there. Since the barrel was hidden there, it is reasonable to assume that it was stolen from somewhere else. The Gemara comments, and in this matter, that thieves would not hide a stolen barrel in the same vineyard from which they stole it applies only to wine. But they would hide grapes there, as grapes are not readily identified by the owner. Consequently, there is a concern that grapes found hidden there might be from the same vineyard. The Gemara further relates that there were jugs of wine that were found between vines of a Jew. Rava deemed the contents permitted and was unconcerned that they might be wine owned by a Gentile. The Gemara asks, shall we say that Rava does not hold in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Hanina, who says that one follows the majority, in this case Gentiles? The Gemara answers, there it is different, as the majority of those who pour the wine from barrels into jugs are Jews, and therefore it is reasonable that the wine belongs to a Jew.